Welcome to our Humanities Panel. Today, we have a few of our teachers in the Humanities discipline joining us to have a conversation about all things NDA, and I would like to welcome them to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Miss Linda Wynn. I'm a freshman theology teacher and I teach Revelation and the Old Testament. And I'm also a co-campus minister at Notre Dame Academy.
Hi, I'm Jackie Steves and I teach 9th grade English, Introduction to Composition and Literature, as well as 10th grade English, Multicultural Composition and Literature. This is my 9th year teaching and my 4th year at NDA.
Hello, my name is Andrew Dunkel. I teach 12th grade government, 12th grade economics, as well as civil and criminal law. I'm also the Dean of Humanities at this fine school, and this is my 4th year at NDA and my, 13 year of teaching? Why not? Sure.
Hi, I'm Laurel Harris. This is my 20th year of teaching, my 5th year at NDA, and I teach Spanish. Specifically, I teach Honors Spanish 3, Honors Spanish 4, and AP Spanish Language and Culture. I'm also the Dean of Students, and I lead the international trips abroad every year.
I would say the study of English literature provides students with training grounds to navigate the real world, which is a complicated text in and of itself. So when they're reading a novel set during the Holocaust, they can actually put themselves in the character's shoes and think, what would they do if they were in that situation? And it helps them form their conscience. And also world literature helps light up areas of the globe for students' understanding so that they get deeper understanding of world cultures and come to know cultures and societies that they wouldn't otherwise get to come into contact with.
Very cool. Anybody else?
Well, for me, I think learning a language really just emphasizes the fact that we are global citizens and that we need to be able to communicate with various people, not only within our small environment, but, all over the world. So it's really just wonderful to see the girls be able to take the languages that they learn here at NDA and use it out in the world when we travel, especially. And it's gratifying to see that.
I mean, content's important too, just because I hate hearing reporters say they ask 100 people, what is the capital of California? And they have no idea. They say Los Angeles, and people are like, you're a social studies teacher. Do you teach? And I'll be like, well, no, there's some content. But I've been going on with Ms. Steves and Senora Harris talked about. There's some real world skills we want them to learn and master and really just crush when they get out of here. Is really just kind of, public speaking, writing, being able to give examples from the past of what is going on. But, we really want to be able to articulate that. Mm-hmm. And I think what I love about teaching humanities, especially here, is it's just from so many areas they get stuff on, but really they really become a well-rounded person by the time they get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think too, to wrap around with all three of the subject areas that we just discussed, there's the input of information that we want students to get, but we also want to form them. And I think they get all this information from all the other classes, and I get this special opportunity to really say, okay, you've learned this here, and this here, so let's bring it into our hearts and see what that really means. And also use our critical thinking skills to sort of decide what our values are based on things that we've learned. It's interesting to hear Ms. Steves talk about forming their conscience and Senora Harris talking about interacting with other people from around the world, and then Mr. Dunkel talking about how to just be an active citizen and how important it is to have a good conscience in order to be able to do all of those things.
That was nice how you linked all of us in this one. That was very
nice synthesis.
Let me just come and say this. That was nice. But also, we want to prepare for college. I mean, besides real world, which is great, one thing I really love about this place is that we prep the girls to really kick butt in college. When I get seniors and I tell them, I go, how is it? They go, I'm prepared. Whether it's taking, Miss Hennessy's AP English class and being able for literary analysis, whether it's being able to be an AP government or Senora Harris for AP Spanish, really girls, when they get into those college classrooms, they're like, I've done this, I'm fine with it. And at least I take a great deal of satisfaction in knowing that, our girls are prepped to really just dominate in college.
Absolutely.
As the freshman, you're in theology, you're reading the Bible, right? And we crack open the Bible and it's like, boom, Adam and Eve. And I feel like the girls are shocked when I tell them that we take a contextualist approach as Catholics, and we sort of consider the entire world in which this text was written before we make a decision on whether or not it's true for like historical and science, truth, or if it's religious truth. And so we take all of these critical thinking skills and we really like dive in, and we just, I don't want to say nitpick, but it's a conversation more than it is a, hey, this is what you need to know and take this and be ready for the test. It's like, well, let's make sure you understand this deeply before we actually just assess you on whether or not you've learned the knowledge.
Yeah, I would say that in English classrooms, we have a big emphasis on media literacy because we know that it's so crucial right now in the 21st century that our students are able to find reputable information and also be able to discern whether or not they should trust all the images that they're consuming, all the different sources they're taking information from. And we also, every year of English, we do a unit on rhetoric. And so we're not only analyzing the arguments, we're also evaluating the arguments and thinking about, are those arguments supported by evidence and sound reasoning and good logic? My sophomores are currently reading 12 Angry Men, and they're so into it. And so that's a fun play to teach because we're analyzing the rhetorical techniques, also the logical fallacies, the pitfalls in logic. And so we definitely have an emphasis in critical thinking and media literacy at NDA.
I mean, I will say this, at other schools I've been at, the textbook is like the most strenuous argument debate out there. What textbook are we going to use? And they're almost like wars over it because teachers have all these views and they go, we got to go with Pearson, we got to go up here. And here is refreshing because we don't have those really arguments. Really, teachers, they use textbooks they find is best for the skills they want the students to master. And, and that's different. I mean, in econ, in my class, I don't have a textbook. And it's not like we don't do anything, or we do stuff. But I'd rather we look at, a lot of different viewpoints, like Adam Smith, John Maynard Keynes, and what they approach to that. And, and have the kids be able to synthesize. So we like to bring in all sorts of skills. I mean, Ms. Wynn, she does dancing. For some reason, there are freshman girls that really want to know and really get anxious. And when I first heard that, that's new. I'm not going to lie to you about, oh my God, I got this dance in Ms. Wynn's religion class. Back when I was growing up, that wouldn't be what was going on in religion classes. But, that's kind of how we roll. And, and that's a refreshing thing. We take this as a faculty. We take great pride in we know what we want the kids to master, and we use all different types of tools, not just chapter 1 and hey, it's next week, so it's chapter 2. Not at all, I don't think.
Right. And one of the things that I like to do is take a summative assessment out of just the handwritten tool. So we do, when we learn to do commands, we cook. So each student is responsible for creating a cooking video in Spanish. She doesn't have to cook a Spanish dish. She can cook a dish from, their family or whatever, but they have to tell us all the ingredients in Spanish. They have to do all the instructions in Spanish. And then what we loved doing was bringing samples into the classroom to share. We can't do that this year, so we'll just, look and wish we could eat it. But nonetheless, we come up with lots of different ways, aside from the textbook and regular testing, that we can make the curriculum come alive for the students. And I think that's something that I really appreciate that we are able to do at NDA.
What I really admire about NDA right now is that we've adjusted during this time of distance learning where we always want to provide a rigorous education, but we heard feedback from our students and parents that teachers were asking too much of students. And so then we dialed back and we listened and we adjusted. And I've heard from students that many of them have said we have fixed the issue. We have limited screen time. So we really listen to our students' needs individually. And then also, we've had professional development on performance tasks, which means it's this type of assessment that assesses real world skills. So for example, I just had my students create TED Talks on a topic that they're passionate about. So they had to learn how to film and produce the video and use iMovie to edit. I'm having them collaborate on Google Drive, Google Docs all the time. And then my students are about to study Hamilton and create a podcast about it. So I'm thinking about what are they actually going to need to go out and do in the jobs of tomorrow, and thinking about how can we prepare them for those skills.
I mean, it's part of being an educator is being able to adapt and being like, you can't teach the same. I mean, example that we try to do in the humanities department is like, we know there's this great big polarization going on in the US, or basically either people have this attitude, either you're for us or against us, and there's very little dialogue or communication. And that is something that I know we've tried to stress, how to be respectful, how to have good conversations with people. If you disagree with someone, how to go about doing that. Now, when I first started teaching, that was never really going on. It was basically, writing and how to take a good test. But now it's like, we see that we have to develop, we look at where we need to work on as a country. And, that's just one example that I think we talk about, like, the whole thing with the election we have coming up. We in humanities, we all sat down and we said, okay, we got to do something about just being respectful. And we got to do something of, what if someone says something that you disagree with, or they vote for a candidate you don't like? How do you go about that? And it's really essential, because I think it really just harms us as a society if we just block people out that we don't know. If we, by social media, you can always block. I blocked you, and that's something that we can't have. We need to grow.
Absolutely.
For me, just having them see how language opens the door for opportunities for them. Yes, you might want to be a physician, but now you can be a physician for people who not only speak English, but also speak Spanish. So you're expanding your reach in terms of who you can help and everything else. So just letting them see that, language learning really just opens lots of doors for them so that they can serve many people and not just a few.
Mm-hmm.
I think for theology, there is a stereotype that it's kind of like an easy A, right? Like religion, it's a religion class, it'll be fine. I can study for that later. Well, I'm like, well, let me teach you first. I'm like, come to my class and that's going to change. And I think that's because I really believe that the lessons in theology are timeless, but they are only as relevant as you make them to be. And so you have to meet the girls where they are. So unfortunately, that means a lot of like TikTok researching, like just knowing what the girls are watching. And I'm like, why am I on here? Like TikTok, this social media is weird. But just kind of being like, okay, well, I saw this TikTok. Now let's relate it to free will. Or like the election is coming up. Well, we talked about free will for 2 weeks. What is the best use of free will that we have here? It's to be very informed and be civically engaged. And so it's like trying to tap into what they're learning in other classes and what they're really like consumed with, and that's just social media and the news, and just making sure that like it's relevant. So responding to the needs of the time in that way, and then just kind of echoing what Miss Steve said, about screen time. And for me, that's just a lot of energy. Like I'm a very energetic person, and doing those dance parties, that's how I respond to the times.
I say that when you come here, one of the things that we'll have you do is take a placement exams for different subjects. And I see a lot of girls doubt that they can do it. And it's just do it, just try. I mean, I think in my honors 3 class, which is a junior level class, I have 14 freshmen. That's saying something. And it's because they just took the leap and they took a test and they were able to prove that they can keep up and they're doing well. I mean, they might struggle a little bit, but they struggle as much as any other student does, but they took a chance and they really just rose to the occasion. So, you know, just try, just try. You never know where you might end up. So again, 14 freshmen in a junior level class is saying something really good about what you come in knowing. So take those tests. Don't be afraid to do it. We will work with you, and we won't place you somewhere where you will fail. We will help you to succeed here. So don't be afraid. Jump in and do it.
Yeah, I would say if you're a 7th or an 8th grader and you're at home and you're watching this and you're like, oh man, they talked about all these really cool things of all these things that the NDA girl is going to be when she graduates, and I don't know if I can do that. Well, here is my advice to you, young girl at home. All those big things that we talked about, they're only possible because you were 10% braver every day. We're not asking you to, go skydive and become this awesome person overnight. It's just these tiny little actions that you do every day that's just 10% braver. And before you know it, you're going to be this awesome person by the time you graduate. And it's not anything that we did. We just get to guide you along. We have the honor and privilege of guiding you along the way, but it's your little steps every single day that make you who you are. And so we can't wait to see you so that we can help you be just 10% braver.
Mm-hmm.
And see you in person.
Yes.
Yes.
I would tell them, you might, if you go to school and there might be a teacher that bangs on the podium real loud at the beginning of a class, don't be scared. Don't be like, what's going on? It's just him. It's just, or her, the teacher is just trying to, get energy from themselves to get going and inspire the students. But don't be alarmed by that. I would offer that caveat. And also I would say, kind of echo Ms. Sarah's, just make the most of the opportunity. Wherever you go, it is really on you to kind of make it. I tell them when they go to college, college is great, but it doesn't matter really what college you go if you don't make the most of it. Mm-hmm. And you have to kind of take initiative. And what I like about here is I feel like we do inspiring those girls to kind of take the initiative of, hey, why don't you try that? Or, hey, why don't you do that? Mm-hmm. And, that's what I like about this place. We kind of give the girls the tools to do that. But anywhere you go, it's really to make your mark. And in this place, you really can't. The opportunity is there. There's not much people, very little no. Mm-hmm. It's really, sure, why not? Which is really what everyone should try to do.
It's a place of yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As I always tell the girls, what you put in is what you get out. It's not up to us to put the in for you. What you put in, you get out. We're here to guide, support, push, help, all of that. But what you put in is what you get out, 8th graders.
So my heart really goes out to you 8th graders, because no 8th grader should have to go through 8th grade during a pandemic. So I've been thinking a lot about you, and what I've done during this pandemic when I've been really feeling depressed about being cooped up and not able to, see all my friends, is I find solace in literature. I just read a book about a North Korean soldier, and I realized, oh, I don't have it that bad. Or before that, I read a book about a prisoner of war. Oh, pandemic life in LA, not so bad. So it takes a little perspective, and I'm not trying to belittle our situation, but it feels a lot better when you read a book set during a world war and you realize they got through it. In fact, they got stronger. And in fact, they were heroic. So I like to take a little inspiration from that. I like to practice gratitude. Science says it makes you happier. So does getting enough sleep. I'm really big on sleep. So those are my pieces of advice.
when we moved to Zoom from the pandemic, this was not something that I was doing in class. I mean, sometimes I do like a little instance here and there, right? But I noticed that the girls were just so tired of sitting all day. Like like, at least when you're in a classroom, you can, move around, you're walking in the hallways, going to different classes, but like at home, you're in the same spot for the entire day. So I found Just Dance videos on YouTube, and I'll share my screen and we'll all dance at the same time. And what I love about the NDA girl is that even though they are begrudgingly doing it, some girls are like, yeah, here I go. And some girls are like, they're still doing it. And they've got this like can-do resilience of like this attitude of the situation is not great, but let me make the most of it anyway. And they're just so joyful. I think what I miss the most about having the students on campus and seeing them every day is hearing them greet me as if they haven't seen me for years, when literally they just saw me yesterday, like not even 24 hours. And they're like, Miss Wynn! I'm like, oh, hello. Like, good to see you too. And so that's what I love about the NDA girl is her joy, her excitement, and her resilience and ability to just make the best out of a not so great situation.
Yeah, I got the resiliency of the kids are great. And really the resiliency of which they all come from different backgrounds, different things going on in their lives. And they don't tell you about them because they want to learn and they are like, let's go. And I can just see in their eyes of which, ready to go, it's prayer. And they give me this look like, Dunkel, let's go. What do you got for me today? And as a teacher, that's really all you can ask for. And when we had to go into the Zoom, and everyone was kind of like, what the heck's going on? And we're like, we're going to do this for a week and everything like that. The girls, that first day we went virtual, every girl was there and they're like, so give that same look, let's go. And I couldn't tell how proud I was of them. And I colleagues and others, I know I'm not going to badmouth other schools, but like they could barely get half the kids in there. And they were told they couldn't give homework and they were told they couldn't do this and they couldn't do that. But our girls, and I had seniors second semester. And they should be like, we're gone. We'll see you later, Dunkel. They should have a sunglasses and a hat, and we are. But no, they're like, what do you got? And man, as a teacher, it's really all you can ask for, I think. I mean, they're that type of kid. You stay. That's what I do.
They are game for anything. Yeah. I mean, when we travel. This last time we went to Madrid and we went to London, and just breaking the news to them that it was a 14-hour flight. That was not fun, but they did it. They did it. They hung in there. They supported each other, and they're very resilient and they're fearless. They will try whatever you tell them to try, especially if they know you will support them. So they will go for it at all.
I'll tell you one story. Like Miss Harris goes to me with Close Up. We went to Close Up. We do that every year. We go to DC and it's a great trip.
Mr. Anyway, Uncle, may I interrupt you politely? Can you explain what Close Up is?
I'll be happy to.
For our viewers that don't know.
Sure it is.
Thank you.
Close Up basically, it's a week-long trip. We go to DC and the kids really learn about how the national government works, dare I say, close up. And it's just really great because they talk to representatives, they talk to staffers, lobbyists, and they meet kids from like all across the US. So it's good, especially from California, kind of a bubble in terms of beliefs and values to hear some other stuff. We go every year and I organize it. And so last year I was able to beg Miss Harris to come with me as a chaperone, and we have to do the red eye. So we leave Saturday night, come in Sunday morning. Most people be like tired, exhausted. We get there, we go to the Holocaust Museum. Not exactly a knee slapper, I don't want to say. But we get there right when it opens. And the girls, instead of like, I'm tired, I want caffeine, they're like reading all about it. We couldn't pull them out of there. They're there, Miss Harris, like 2-3 hours trying to learn about it. They're like, I've been here. Oh my God. And once again, there's just like eagerness of what do you got next? I mean, I was just shocked because I was about to collapse. But you get that energy and you gives you that much more enthusiasm. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there.
Yeah, I would, I want to also talk about how eager and energetic the students are. I'm moderator of the Honor Code, and the Honor Code is something that makes NDA really special. It was started 10 years ago by students and for students, and it's this honor code that we live by, and it has to do with living with integrity, treating others with respect and concern, encouraging each other to act with honor. So it's also this club level organization where if we were in school on Wednesdays during lunch, my very large classroom is overflowing with students who come and they all discuss like moral dilemmas and ethical quandaries. And so they're grappling and they're wrestling with these issues of honor, and they're so eager to do it. And I think that's really heartening, because I don't know if I would have been spending my lunch periods talking about morality in high school. So I think that's
you probably did. Come on, Miss Steve, don't lie.
maybe I would. Maybe I would.
You know, would you? You know,
I think you would have, Miss Steve.
That's a little bit. I think you would.
The craziest thing is, during distance learning, we've been meeting on Thursdays over Zoom. And if I was a student, I would be like, let me get off Zoom. I would like to go take a break. But instead, we've had very high attendance with more students than we've ever had before. And they're still engaged even on Zoom with these important issues of honor and morality. So that's really inspiring to me.
That's awesome. So it sounds like your favorite aspect of teaching collectively is the NDA girl.
Oh,
yeah, hands down. I think we're all on the same page there.
I think she comes in perhaps a little bit shy, a little bit, afraid, maybe doesn't want to say too much. But by senior year, she's a very, very good self-advocate, advocates well for other people, and is not afraid to let you know how she feels about anything.
Yes.
So definitely a growing experience during the 4 years.
I think the NDA girl is really caring. As teachers, I think it's really important for us to show our vulnerability. Like, not every day is an amazing day. Like, there are teaching days that are really hard, and we all have personal circumstances. And the girls are so in tune with who I am as a teacher, where if I'm not coming in like, all right, let's go, we're gonna learn this today, and they'll ask me, they'll be like, Miss Wynn, are you okay? Like, I do a temperature check every day. I'm like, okay, how's everyone feeling? Are we good? Where are we? And I've had so many instances where a girl will pause and say, well, Miss Wynn, you ask us all the time, like, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. I'm like, I'm here today. And so I love that they see their teachers not only as like teachers, but also humans. They're incredibly caring in that way, which I really appreciate.
Except when they see you in Ralph's. Then they're
Yes.
like, she shops? She buys food? What?
She goes somewhere sometimes? What?
Like, you have a life?
Like,
I know.
Out the cage. What are you doing there?
Other things?
Who's this? You have a wife? You have a spouse?
Yeah, a son. Oh, he's cute. Get away.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite stories that I tell a lot about the school is when after class, students come up to me and they say thank you, and like it's nothing I've done. It isn't like, hey, no homework this weekend or anything like that. It's just respectful. And I've been a teacher at some other schools. Miss Harris kills my 13 for 20 years, but I've still been for a while, and I've had kids who said anything but thank you, or 180 degree the opposite of thank you when they leave my classroom. And when they come out and say thank you, Mr. Dunkel, like a genuine, like, oh, thank you for providing me education, I learned something. It's really like, wow. I mean, how could you not want a teacher? And I think they have that base, they have that foundation, but also they want to look for areas to better themselves. They do want that. Anytime I've asked a girl, hey, can you speak at this? Or hey, can you do this for me? Like we're doing assembly about the election on Monday. I asked 4 girls, hey, can you do this, this, this? Everyone, yeah. Even those nervous, they're like, I don't like public speaking, but okay. Because I think they could tell this is important and I'll do this. And it is great that and the NDA provides a community, I think, where they have this, it's okay to try it. And if it doesn't work, succeed. One more story, I'll let someone else talk. I can tell stories about NDA all day. But our softball team last year, we had like 3 people returning veterans, just happened. And so what happened, 10 people played softball who never played softball before. They was like, I thought it'd be fun. I'm like, have you played softball? No. And then she was going to be a starting right fielder. And my God, as a senior to do that, it says something about the NDA, about the girls that come here. Just be like, sure, I'll try that. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what's already been said. I vividly remember my first day teaching here and all the girls filing out saying thank you. And I was so shocked. I go, thank you. And then I realized, oh no, I'm supposed to say you're welcome. Like I had to get used to that because I didn't have that at my last school. And the NDA girls, there are so many of them where I think to myself, I want to meet their parents because their parents must be amazing to raise a girl like that. I also would echo what Senora Harris said about the growth over the years. I see that they are strong leaders. When I'm moderating honor code, I sit back and the steering committee plans everything. I love watching Miss White lead Queen's Council because she pushes them. Man, I wish I was a high school student with Miss White telling me how to speak and lead. And it's really cool to watch the girls become really strong leaders by the time they're seniors.
I remember I was at a recruiting function, and one of the Queen Council members, she came up to me and she's like, "Oh, good to see you, Mr. Dunkel. Talk to that parent over there because they're really interested about AP government." I'm like, okay, thank you. And they were just kind of, back over Ms. Steve said, they kind of lead it, and just the way they speak. I mean, you just sit there and marvel. And if I had a daughter, I would totally want to see them as they graduate become these leaders going out there and just good people. It's just really, heartwarming to see.
And it's something that I think is so true. They're going to leave better scholars. They're going to leave better athletes. They're going to leave, better scientists, but they all leave better people. Right. And I know, like, that's what I'm most proud of. They all leave better women, better people. And Miss Steves, thank you so much. I think also they want the push. That's what I like about the NDA girl. Mm-hmm. It's not just they need it. They want it. They want to be their best selves. Like whatever best is for them. They want to lead. They want to do. And some of them, the space to get there is bigger than others. But that's what I see on the majority of our students. They want to get from here to here. And so I think when they want to get from here to here, I mean, I hate to sound corny, it's magical. Like, it is my favorite part of my job is watching these girls grow and want to grow. And I think they're going to change the world. I tell them all the time and they giggle. I'm like, no, I'm actually very serious. I think you're going to do this.
I tell my students all the time, especially right now, I'm like, I already have taught the president, I'm sure, the future president, whoever is like, I am 100% certain that someone from Notre Dame Academy is going to be the leader of our country.
I really like how it's really like one community. Mm-hmm. It's the size of it. I mean, like other high schools, you have like cliques of like, oh, that's the athlete table. That is the honor table. That is the people with issues table and things like that. But really here at NDA, it is like a community. We have like NDA Day, which is just really, it's hard to describe because my first year, I'm like, what? It really is like, what the heck's going on here? Are they getting paid? Are they, like, I thought I was getting cash prize. They don't. It's a big competition for stuff. But like basically, it's like my class and they all get together. And that doesn't happen at other places. And that, I really think it is kind of a safe space, of which, I mean, you come in for lunch, people are sitting on blankets, well, they were, and they will again, but they sit together on blankets and like just outside and just kind of like hang out. And it's like a refreshing thing to see. You really get to see that.
I am rereading Becoming by Michelle Obama because in this crazy time, I just need something normal and inspiring. So that's what I'm reading.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyone else? What are you
I
reading?
love the audiobook of Becoming because you get to hear Michelle read it. I am reading Hillbilly Elegy. It's about it's by J.D. Vance, and he grew up in a poor Rust Belt town, and it's about what's going on with kind of the poor white working class there. And I'm reading it because I want to better understand the divisions in our society, and it's a really fascinating memoir. I've only read a quarter of it thus far, but I recommend it so far.
Yeah, I think they're making a movie of that too. I think it's coming out. I think.
On Netflix, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Ron Howard's directing that. Yeah, I've been meaning to read that.
Mr. Duncan?
Sorry. Reading. There's time. Wow. I don't know, between like the teaching and then you get home and the kids and then you get them all to bed. It's like I have like 45 minutes and then I talk to wife and then I'm collapsed on the couch. But I do have one book I look at often. It's Unfinished Life. It's about John Kennedy. Robert Dallek wrote it. Just because I find Kennedy's presidency, I'm a geek at government, yeah. I find Kennedy's presidency so fascinating that he had to face so many different crises, and both in terms of foreign and both domestic. And it really reads like one after the other. And there's no like whining by him and there's no whatever. It's just like how he approached it. And I always just find it fascinating to reread. Like I reread Cuban Missile Crisis one and how he handled that and how the Bay of, I don't mean to get too geeked out. And the Bay of Pigs, he crashed and burned. And he's like, okay, if I screw this up, this could be it. And just how kind of his approach as a leader, as how he fought to do it. And really just kind of like inspires me and just, learn from it.
I'm reading so many things right now, but that's mostly because I'm getting my doctorate in educational leadership for social justice. So everything that I read is kind of tied into that. So it's either articles or books. But the book that I'm trying to finish for fun is called Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. It's on Oprah's list of like books to read. It's so fascinating. And it's basically comparing India's caste system to America's problems with race and I believe also Nazi Germany, and the three together. It's really, really good. It's a dense read. And then I'm also reading something for fun. It's called It Starts With Food. It talks about what food does for your body and like how to choose which foods are really good for you and like fuel you instead of make you tired and all that type of stuff. So yeah.
I did read We're Going on a Bear Hunt last night. I'm sorry. And it had the little sound thing. Boy,
Do you recommend it, Mr. Dunkel?
Yeah. And you can't go over it. You can't go under it. You gotta go through it. That's like life.
Classroom empowered. So whether it's, being able to speak another language or just being, like you said, just being just being able to advocate, just being a great communicator, feeling empowered to do that and confident, the self-confidence. That's what I write a lot about in their letters of recommendation for college, is how I've seen through the years, because a lot of times I teach, I've taught the girls for like 2-3 years and just developing and seeing them develop their self-confidence. So that's a big thing for me.
Great. Anyone else? Your personal philosophy for teaching high school girls?
This is the first time I've taught in an all-girls school. And typically when I've taught co-ed, a lot of times I've seen like girls get kind of drowned out or be afraid to talk.
Yes.
And what's refreshing about here, and I try to have, is like let them know that you can, don't feel like you don't, you can't talk. Don't feel like you like are scared to. You should. You are smart. You are bright. You have this potential, and don't like ever. And I'm like, you won't be in areas or whatever in college where people are going to try to drown you out and be like, oh, whatever. And you could just blend in, but don't. Stand up for yourself. I like to pitch a close-up trip again. Is a couple years ago, some girls met some people from Texas, especially some boys from Texas, who were quite loud and quite opinionated. And, they kind of ran to me and said, Mr. Dunkel, there you are, and they used some choice words. And I'm like, call them on it. I'm like, your stuff. I mean, do it. don't take their crap. And it was refreshing to see them. One actually I quoted the 14th Amendment, which made me a little misty, but of just kind of like, because as I say, it. And don't ever forget that. And that's the kind of philosophy I have, just from I've seen in the past. So really to go out there and never be shy about what you are.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, speaking as an alum of this school, it is what I learned at NDA. Don't ever let anyone drown you out. Always stand up for yourself. Always speak to what is right, knowing it won't be the most popular every single time, knowing it might just be you standing on that island. But that is one of the things that I'm most grateful for that I took from these hallways, is to stand up for who and what I am in every single situation, and to always do what's right and speak what's right. And I did. I exercised that muscle in these hallways. Yeah, definitely.
I have very intentionally only taught at all girls institutions. I worked at Mount St. Mary's University, where it's all female. I worked at another all female high school, and now I'm here. And that's because I am a firm believer of an equitable education. And so for me, that means, what is it that we need right now? And right now we need women and young girls to be able to confidently speak their minds, knowing full well that they know the information that they know. Just like what Mr. Dunkel said, like they know their stuff, but where is that X factor to like really be able to speak that? And so for me, that's meeting the girls where they are. Because one day you might be feeling on top of the world, and honestly, the next day you might be like Ms. Wynn's dragging you into the classroom door because, you're just like, you're struggling. And so that means like, okay, you can sit this one out today, but tomorrow, try to come back and be ready to go and revved up, because I know that you're not going to be 100% all the time, but meet me halfway. And so I think meeting the girls where they are really is sort of like my equitable philosophy of teaching high school girls.
I think that I actually did teach at an all-boys school for 1 year, all girls ever since though. So I think that there's just this comfort that allows us to bond really easily. So there's this sisterhood. Mr. Dunkel, you can be a part of the sisterhood too.
Thank you. I feel part of sisterhood right now.
We're honorary sisterhood.
Even though I refuse to dance in the yoga, I still feel accepted by this crew, and I thank you for that.
Yes. So my philosophy is, it's very cliche. I want to inspire in these girls a love of reading and writing, because I can't imagine my life without enjoying my love of those two things. And when they're girls, and so I just kind of automatically relate to them better, I can help them find books that they love, and I can assign writing prompts that they're going to connect with, and then they're going to experience that incredible gratification that comes with working on your writing and revising and polishing it until it shines and you're proud of it. And so it's just when I personally am able to relate to the girls better, I can make each class more fun. And then what is attached to literature and composition is joy, rather than, it's just easy to make it fun, and I really enjoy it. So
wonderful. I can't thank you all enough. And let me tell you this before I let you go. NDA is beyond lucky to have every single one of you. And it is a pleasure to work with you. And it is so hard that we're all on the same campus right now. And we didn't even get to see each other to say hi. So hi from your room. I miss you all so much. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk all things NDA with us.